Leadership is considered the practice of engaging with colleagues to draw on collective knowledge and experiences to solve problems, create solutions, and improve outcomes. Are leaders born or made? Something to consider when we dive into this topic of leadership. What kind of leader are you? When we look at different leadership styles, we have three to look at, which is not an exhaustive list, but a list that we will start with. When we look at the authoritarian, we're looking at a leader who goes by the letter of the law, wants tasks done specifically. When we look at a democratic leader, this leader sets goals but wants the input of the team to make a final decision. And then you have a delegating leader. This leader delegates tasks to various members of the team and doesn't really give firm requirements for how tasks are completed. What kind of leader will you be as an RECE? This is something to think about because, as discussed previously, the College of ECE considers all RECEs leaders. When we look at leaders, we think of leaders having a knowledge of self. And with this knowledge of self, the leaders identify their own learning and teaching style, and they use this to really identify how they teach. By understanding how you learn, it will help you understand how you teach, because the focuses you have with your own learning and the processes you have for your own learning are the ones you tend to gravitate to when you're teaching. Leaders have a knowledge of others, so they pair with other educators in the classroom so that they can ensure that they're collaborating and understand the strengths and limitations of those around them, as well as how to support them to grow. Leaders have knowledge of vision, so they understand what the ultimate goal is and what is trying to be achieved. When we look at leaders, they also have skills that include and not limited to communication, reflection, and analysis. Leadership skills in communication. This looks at the need for both written and oral forms of communication. In the licensed childcare setting, educators communicate with each other, they communicate with children, and they communicate with families in various forms. The leadership skills that are related to reflection, educators use this reflection, and the College of ECE talks a lot about the use of reflection to identify their routine, to identify what supports children might need, and really to identify what their own needs are, because self-care is important as a leader as well. Leadership skills include analysis, so being able to determine the best teaching practices and how to change course with something really improves performance, but it also improves the learning environment that is provided for children, families, and even for yourselves as colleagues and educators. Leadership and leaders really value integrity, transparency, and collaboration. For integrity, integrity of each role in the licensed childcare center and the vision for the center. So each educator really respecting the roles in the childcare center and really respecting the integrity of that program, of that center's philosophy itself, and of each colleague and respecting them in their roles. Leaders value transparency, so it helps everybody to understand what is going on, talking to your colleagues about what's working and what's not working, talking to families about what the child needs and how you as an educator will support, and then talking to the supervisor and anybody in charge of a program to understand, what the vision is, what your thoughts are about it, and how you think you can support or improve that program. Leaders value collaboration, so this is important because when you're in a childcare setting, when you're in a school setting, when you're in a classroom, you work with other people. So you have to work with other people in regards to the environment. You have to work with other educators in regards to program planning. You have to work with other educators in regards to communication with family. So there's a lot of collaboration that goes on as a leader.